people who listen to this show or are of like mind know extremely well how important the issue of campaign finance reform is to our government and to our future. It is the mother of all issues. It is the issue from which the right outcome on so many other issues depends, because the corrupting influence of money in our political process is completely out of hand. It's subverting our democracy. It's the campaign finance reform is the only thing that can help us from living under a government of the oligarchy, by the oligarchy, and for the oligarchy. Our next guest is devoting his life's work to that issue. He has a great new contest coming up that we're going to talk about. Rio Tazewell coordinates the Government by the People campaign for people for the American way, and he joins us now. Rio, thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you, Richard. Very happy to be here.
So listen, let's start out by just talking a little bit about what Government by the People is all about. Let's start there.
Great. Yeah. So the Government by the People campaign is really just our program at People for the American Way, working to promote solutions to the influence of big money in politics. We're in favor of a full range of solutions, including public financing of elections, disclosure, et cetera. But our primary focus is a constitutional amendment to overturn a series of Supreme Court cases, most notably Citizens United, that have allowed for unlimited, undisclosed spending in our elections.
Great, and that's something we can all get behind around here. And you guys have a new video campaign, and I wanted to hear a little more about that, if we might.
Absolutely, yeah. So we've been doing a lot of coalition organizing to build support for a constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United. And there's a leading amendment proposal in Congress called the Democracy for All Amendment. So we decided to do sort of a creative campaign to build support for this amendment, and we decided to do a video contest. So we launched what is now called the $64,000 Democracy for All Video Challenge. We actually launched it back in August. And what we're doing is encouraging people to produce short videos, 30 to 90 seconds, talking about how money in politics affects other issues that they're passionate about, and connecting it to the need for a constitutional amendment to get big money out of politics. So, for instance, some people are producing videos that connect the dots between climate change and the influence of money in politics. Some people are producing videos that connects the issue of student loan debt with money in politics. And to encourage people to produce these videos, we're putting up some prize money, and there's a $25,000 grand prize that will be awarded in December. Then there's also 5 category prizes at $5,000 apiece. And additionally, we built in a weekly picks prize of $1,000 that we're doing to encourage people to enter the contest early and often. And so we're giving away $1,000 every week just to one person that's entered a video so far. And we started that back in August, and that will continue every Wednesday until December 2nd.
So every Wednesday, people are getting $1,000 from you guys?
That's absolutely right. Yeah, we just awarded our 8th weekly winner this week.
That's awesome. You know what I like about your prize amounts, $1,000 and $25,000, it's enough to make a huge difference in somebody's life, but you can't actually go out and corrupt the political process with that money. It's not enough. So it's like you found the sweet spot between. No, I'm. Now listen. So tell us a little bit about. You're doing this in support of the Democracy for All amendment, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
So the Democracy for All amendment has sort of emerged as the consensus amendment that many reform organizations are mobilizing around, as well as members of Congress that have really recognized the need to amend the Constitution. And it's a pretty simple amendment. Basically, it just says that Congress and state legislatures can enact common sense restrictions on the amount that can be spent in elections by outside entities. Whereas, as a result of Supreme Court cases like Citizens United, it's illegal, it's unconstitutional to put any limits on the amount that can be spent. So this basically undoes that and says that there can indeed be limits on how much can be spent in elections.
Now, one of the other things that I really like what you guys are doing, and we're talking with Rio Tazewell, head of the Government by the People campaign over at People for the American Way. What I like about what you guys are doing is that you're not just, as I understand it, you're not just supporting a specific solution, but you're also encouraging people to understand just how important this issue is. So these videos in addition to supporting the Democracy for All amendment, they really light up the fact that this is a problem. Because for me, one of my frustrations looking at this issue, to be honest with you, is that I see a lot of people getting to the solution. It's kind of like if the theater's on fire, you could say, well, should we spray foam on it, or should we spray water on it? Should we evacuate out of the front or out of the back? But the first thing is everybody's got to understand the place is on fire. So to me, one of the things I like about your video challenge is that it deals with a solution, and an excellent solution, I think the consensus, as you put it, but it also helps people articulate that this electoral system we have now is pretty much on fire. So I guess what I would ask you, Rio Tazewell, is what have you learned anything interesting from the video submissions you've had so far?
Oh, yeah. Well, we've been really pleased and impressed by just the diversity of videos that we've gotten. The way that we structured the contest encourages different types of videos. We have different categories, including the funniest video category, best original song, most creative, best student video, most dramatic video. So just inherently in the way we structure the categories, we're getting all different types of entries, and it's just amazing how many different ways the problem of money in politics can be portrayed. And it's been really encouraging. And beyond that, we've been really pleased by the personal narratives that have come out of this contest. Every winner that we've had so far in the weekly winners have been people that didn't know about the Democracy for All amendment. They may have been aware of the problem of money in politics, which many people are. I mean, polling is overwhelmingly clear that a vast majority of people in this country think there's too much money in politics. They think that there should be some reform enacted, but a big part of the problem is that people don't know that there are very real solutions already on the table being introduced in state legislatures and in Congress. And a big goal of this contest was to kind of shift the narrative around money in politics from being one of hopelessness and despair to one of empowerment. And really pointing towards the Democracy for All amendment as being a very real, tangible, viable solution that we can support today.
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea of empowerment, and also I think of having a little fun here and there, which to me is part of the empowerment thing too. It's not so overwhelming and scary. I think a lot of people feel, well, this monster of money and corruption is so big, I can't fight it. If you laugh at it first, I think that helps with the empowerment too, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. So we really wanted this campaign to be fun, and the feedback that we've gotten so far suggests that people do see it as a fun, creative way to take an action. So often in the nonprofit world, when we're doing campaign work, we're asking people to take an action, whether it's sign a petition or call their member of Congress, and then soon after asking them to take that action, often we're asking them to donate money to us. And that's all well and good, and we'll continue doing that, but this campaign is a little bit different in that it actually gives people an opportunity to get a little bit of money for themselves.
Yeah, which is great. And I also think, as I say, to have a little fun. And, I always appreciate, too, what Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks says about this issue, which is, every generation's had their big challenge, whether it was World War II or getting out of the Depression or, whatever it might be, that in many, we have multiple challenges in this generation, but one of them that we can really be the greatest generation for is, besides economic inequality and racial justice and so on, it is we can do this thing, right? I mean, we can do this. That's my attitude.
Absolutely. I mean, the Constitution has been amended 27 times already, including the Bill of Rights. So clearly it can be done. And many of the major steps forward we've taken in this country towards, expanding our democracy for all has been through constitutional amendments. That's how people of color got the right to vote. That's how women got the right to vote. And this is really in line with the spirit of amending the Constitution, which is to protect equal opportunity in this country. And we're at a point now where it's more critical than ever to address the influence of money in politics.
Amen. Okay. Well, where can people go to find out more about what you guys are doing at People for the American Way, Government by the People, and where can they go to check out the video contest and maybe win?
So the video contest is being housed at democracyforall.com. You can go and browse all of the videos that have been submitted so far. You can also read up on the amendment. You can actually read the amendment itself and read up, on the issue of money in politics in general, and also take action. There's a widget that allows you to write a message to your member of Congress with just a couple clicks. You just enter your zip code, and it'll automatically generate a message that'll be sent to your member asking them to support the Democracy for All amendment if they're not already on board, and if they are, then and just thanking them. If you're interested more generally in what PFAW is doing, People for the American Way is doing, you can check out our website at pfaw.org.
All right. Well, perfect. So Rio Tazewell, Government by the People, People for the American Way, and the $64,000 video challenge. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Richard. Appreciate it.